Okay, hello everybody. We're going to kick off this evening's session. My name is Damien Byrne. I'm the program chair of this new program in 3D animation. We're going to have a couple of little sections in terms of the hour long. I have my colleague here, Ross Ryder, who is also involved in this program and the existing animation program. And I also have a graduate of IADT, Ivor Stokes Rodriguez, who we're going to start tonight's session with. He works in 3D animation, having graduated in 2020. Is that right, Ivor? 2020, I think it was. So we're going to do a bit of a Q&A about Ivor, his experience as a student in IADT, and then obviously his career since then in terms of working within 3D in Irish studios. So after Ivor's the chat with Ivor, we'll have a presentation on the detail of the program. We'll go into the application process, the portfolios, and then we'll have time for any questions you might have individually in terms of any questions on this program, but also then anything else about the wider faculty in IADT and kind of deadlines and dates and things like that. So normally in these sessions, we think that students are the best kind of ambassadors of a program because they're experiencing it. But as this is a new program that is only launching this year, that's why we've asked Ivor back tonight. So as I said, Ivor graduated just at the beginning of the pandemic, really, but since then has forged a career in terms of 3D animation. So Ivor, you got your mic off or turned on?
Yeah.
Cool.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose one thing that might be relevant for kind of most of the people joining, tell us about how and why, how you got to IADT, where you came from, and also then kind of your journey through the animation program. So the existing degree in IADT.
So I guess when I was in school, I was just looking around, like I didn't know what I was going to do for like after school, but like I liked art, and then I was like I always loved art. My mother said, "Would you not just check out the art colleges around the area, see what's there?" And then I found out that animation is a degree you could do, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds really cool." So I looked into it, started going to all the open days, and like I'm from Limerick, so like I never even had been to Dublin at that stage. So I went to the IADT open day and loved it. It was really cool going in, seeing everyone sitting at their desks, animating like with their own desks, and they can personalize it how they want. And yeah, just like 2 years later, I got accepted, and that's how it started, I guess.
And did you apply straight from school, or did you take a year out, or how did you kind of get your portfolio together?
I applied because I found basically I was in transition year when I found out about it, so I guess I had plenty of time. So I did my portfolio during school. Like I don't, it's my reason, it's my excuse anyway for not learning how to drive. I was doing my portfolio, and but it was tricky enough. But I'm glad it worked out in the end.
And when during your studies did you move towards 3D? Was it something you were always interested in, or was it something that as you kind of developed your kind of academic career that you kind of moved towards?
I guess I like the movies that I love the most. They're all 3D, so I had it in the back of my mind that I would like to be doing 3D. But of course, I did the 2D course, so we started off in 2D and but it's like learning the principles and stuff, so that translates over. And I remember we started the way the module worked. We started 3D in second year, I think. So I guess maybe we're a bit late into it, but I just downloaded it in first year. Like, I had no clue at all. I downloaded Maya, Autodesk Maya, in first year. Can everyone see me? I'm seeing messages that
Yeah.
Okay.
Good here
Yeah, I can
anyway.
see you okay.
Oh, there,
Okay.
there.
So like yeah, we just covered it from all the basics, and now I use it every day.
And obviously then as you kind of moved through the course, you focused more and more on 3D. So your graduate project was purely in 3D. Talk a little bit about your experience making your film.
So yeah, I wanted to make a 3D film, but I think I was unfortunate in that my year it was mostly 2D people, so there weren't many of us doing 3D. So I guess I ended up doing my project alone for the most part. So a lot of it was learning like modeling, rigging, and then animating. Although animating was left to the very end. Um, but it was a cool experience, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. Although with the pandemic was my excuse, but I only had it like half finished by the end of the degree. So I presented it as like a short piece, but then I extended it like in the time I had afterwards.
And after completion, what did you do? You've won some awards with it and things like that.
It won best Irish student film in Dingle, and yeah, and it helped me get my first job, like kind of soon enough after college as well, because my first job was a CG generalist at Piranha Bar, and then I eventually got into Brown Bag, where I am now.
So talk about that a little bit. So you came out of college and obviously, it's hard to get your first chance no matter what. It's always the big step. How did you find going into Piranha Bar in terms of, was it daunting? Did you feel you were prepared? Was it a learning experience? How was it?
It, I think I felt prepared enough. When I joined, I had to learn a lot new softwares that I hadn't used before. But I guess I originally had to move from Maya to Cinema 4D. But I guess the skills they transfer between softwares quite easily. So I guess once you have the basics of it all, you can kind of learn any other software. But yeah, where was I going? What was the question again?
Well, what kind of work did you start? Like, what were you working on in Piranha Bar? So just so you know, Piranha Bar is a studio based in Dublin. And they do some TV, but they also do commercials and live action kind of stuff. So it's kind of an interesting mix of work. So what were you working on at first?
So just lots of different adverts. I think we did adverts for like Kellogg's first, and then eventually the Tommy McCanary ad with the canary dancing around the kitchen. And it was really, I got like on that ad, I modeled a lot of the kitchen and textured it, and then got to animate one of the characters. So I did a lot on that ad as a generalist. And then I guess I kind of was realizing that I was enjoying the animation side of it a lot more. So when Brown Bag had an animation internship, I applied for that, and I got that, and then that turned into a full-time job. I actually applied for the same internship like a year previous, and it was the week that we went into the pandemic. So, and I knew our thesis was due on the same week, and but instead of doing my thesis, I was putting a reel together to apply to the Brown Bag animation internship, and then the pandemic hit. That internship got cancelled, but the thesis worked out in the end as well. And then a year later, I applied and got that.
And just explain to everybody. So what is your job now? What do you do? And obviously, I know you can't mention the show that you're working on because it's all top secret. But explain a little bit about like what a day-to-day kind of your day-to-day experience in Brown Bag is.
So I'm working on a show for a major streaming company, and it's really cool. It's a season 1, so there's no information on it yet, really. But it's a lot of fun. I get to how Brown Bag works is, I guess they have a smaller in-house team, and then there's a like external team as well who do the bulk of the episodes. But then we do the key shots and the the library of stuff. So we get to work we get to work closely with the directors to make it and finish the show.
Cool. And what if you were thinking back? So you're, what was it, 6 years ago roughly? You started in IADT.
Yeah,
It's amazing how quickly it flies by.
yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to people who are thinking of applying for animation, or words of wisdom? What would you say?
Um, I so thinking of line that not to be like stressing over like no, you don't need to know anything about it really going into it. Just practice your drawing because there's not much time to like refine your drawing skills once you start. So I mean, there always is, but like it's a good thing to have. It'll put you right on track if you are confident at drawing before you start, and you don't need to have animated beforehand.
And again,
Um,
that's a perfect segue, because again later on I'll talk to everybody about the portfolio guidelines, and but at the moment we're actually using the exact same as the existing program. So it's very much around drawing. There's no emphasis on having used any of the software or anything like that. If you have, great, but again, core skills of observational drawing and kind of personal work is key, to kind of expressing who you are as much as where you want to go with your work. Have we got one or two questions for Ivor before he goes back? Have we got anything in the chat? I think it's just technical issues, is it, that people are dealing with?
Fortunately, if you are, yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like some people aren't able to see, but everyone can hear you absolutely fine, and most people are able to see, no problem.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and resolve that in the background. You keep going.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Ivor? Everybody's eagerly anticipating. Ross, do you have anything you want to ask or say?
No. Well, first off, great to see you again, Ivor. It's been a while.
Yeah, you were one of the first people to teach me animation in Maya.
Yeah.
We did walk cycles with you when I was in second year.
Ah, great. Well, it makes me very happy to see how far you've gone with it all. Yeah. No, I suppose if there's one thing just with all the different softwares nowadays that I'd like to second is that like the skills are fundamental. So for anybody, I've had a lot of questions from like current students and even some people on the open day who were kind of wondering like which software should I be using. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. I mean, there may be one that the course is built around, but ultimately any skills that you learn in one will transfer to the others. It's different buttons, but they're all doing the same thing. So just if there was anyone out there in the crowd wondering and had that question floating around, I'd definitely just like to say that. It's all the same.
You're muted, Damo. Damo,
you're muted there.
Sorry. So Patrick is asking, through your years in IADT, how did you find the process of learning? How the curriculum structured? Now, Patrick, I'll talk about the specific structure of this new program as part of my presentation, because things have changed slightly from when Ivor would have been a student. But again, how did you find the year by year kind of process and growing yourself in your skills?
I thought it was really nice because the first 2 years were focused on like just learning the rules of animation, learning softwares and all that, and then the second half of it was like making films, working, collaborating, and trying the more creative side. So I really liked how it was split up because we felt ready for it, we felt prepared for it, and we also ended second year doing a little like project, was it like a 20-second? Remember the book? Do you still do the book adaptation?
It's changed slightly, but yeah, there's still that second year project in terms of.
And I don't. Do you remember mine, Demo? It was my first ever like CG project, and it's horrible. I hate looking at it, but like it's nice to see where I came from, I guess.
Don't worry, I've kept all the files for blackmail in the future when you're really famous, and I'll produce it then, don't we? So Larissa's just quickly asking, have you ever gotten the chance to create your own content in the studio? And then I'll just quickly answer one other one, which is you don't need to know any software, be it Photoshop or anything coming in. That's what we will do in terms of the course. So don't worry if you have no experience. If you do, great, put in some work, but it's not going to be negatively assessed in terms of the portfolio when those portfolios are reviewed. What was the so yeah, have you had a chance yet to do anything of your own, or is it purely kind of client-based work, let's say?
Like since leaving Brownback or IADT, is that the question?
Like in the studios and stuff, is it, or is it just purely, TV show or ads as they come in?
Yeah, I guess I've been, yes, in the last 2 years, I haven't really been doing my own stuff, but I want to get back into it, and I think I really want to apply for funding to make another short film soon. But like for the last 2 years, I've just been getting experience, getting better at my craft, I guess.
Sure. And one final thing, which is when we finish Ivor, have you released your film online?
No, I keep meaning to, because
Okay.
I'm not entering any festivals anymore.
Okay, well maybe stick a link to the trailer into the chat so people can at least see the trailer and have a look at what ended up being an award-winning grad film.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Great. Well, I'm just conscious of time as well. So thanks, Ivor. Appreciate it. And hopefully some of you who hopefully will join the course will be working with Ivor in a couple of years' time down the line in terms of the studios and kind of working around Ireland in the different companies. So thanks again for your time, Ivor, and look forward to chatting to you soon.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Best of luck on the rest.
Great to see you again.
See you. Take care.
So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an overview of this new course. So if I just screen share. And sorry. And hopefully you can all see that. Is that sharing for you guys?
Yeah, I can see it on my side.
For me, yes, yeah.
Great. So as I said, this is a new degree in 3D animation. And the existing program is remaining as is. So there'll be 2 animation programs in IADT starting next September. So it's already in the CAO, as you know, and we'll be going through the same kind of process and timelines as all the existing courses within the faculty. So as you know, CAO is 1st of February. We have portfolios, which are due the end of March, and that's a digital submission. Again, I'll come back to that. And again, places then are offered in August through the CAO process. So this is a 4-year degree. It's an honours degree. It's creative and technical. And what I mean by that is it's highly creative, and that's what we value. But obviously, being a digital kind of program, there'll be a lot of technical work that you'll be developing over the years, skills, pipelines, and kind of learning new softwares and different things as you go. As I said, it's a CAO plus portfolio, so that's how the places are offered. And for the first year, we're going with there's 20 places, and then year 2, it'll grow to 30 places and so forth. It's industry focused, and what I mean by that is it's been developed with a lot of input from industry, the studios, graduates who are working in the industry extensively, but also has a lot of different pathways in terms of when you graduate, be it postgraduate study or broad kind of career opportunities. And again, I'll talk about that in a little bit in a separate slide. So again, this is just some images I put together in terms of the work. So again, what do you need in 3D to be a 3D to make 3D animation, you need to create models, you need to animate them, you need to create the worlds in them, but you also need to create stories, you need to think of sound design, lots of different skills go in. So here we have a project that was made a couple of years ago. So the character designs are along the top. We've got some kind of environments and some of the technical work, so the rigging, so how you can put a skeleton inside a character. We also have a little bit of the programming language and the scripting that the student did. And eventually you end up with, a finished film. So these are stills from the finished film, so the rendered finished project that was made by a graduate called Owen O'Driscoll, who I think works in a games company now down in Cork. So just to give you an idea of the kind of 4-year structure, as Ivor said, most of the programs in our faculty are kind of almost split in half. The first half is where you're learning your skills and your principles, developing kind of your artistic as well as technical skills. So you're learning how to animate, but also build worlds, create environments. One thing that we're really proud of also is the kind of history and the kind of critical and contextual studies side of things. So you learn about the history of film and animation, but you also do screen studies and digital cultures as well in year 2. So so it's a mixture of artistic, technical, and let's say academic modules that you do throughout the course. The second half of the course is split then. Year 3 is where you do some advanced technical tools. So you use motion capture, you'll start looking at real-time games engines, and also non-linear storytelling, so VR and kind of creating experiences. There's also in 3rd year a work placement and industry project. And also there's opportunities for under a project called Erasmus Plus, where you may want to study in Europe. So you have an option of doing a semester or a year in one of our partner institutes across Europe. And then year 4 is very much about you. It's about you defining the area and the skills you want to try and kind of showcase and hopefully move into on graduation. As Ivor kind of said about his experience, he made the project on his own, but we are going to work as collaborative kind of filmmakers. If I just go back a second, at the end of year 2, we have a film project where you will work across all roles, and that, having that experience will help you kind of make decisions around where you want to go in the second half of your degree. So it's collaborative, and it's also specializing in terms of roles and skills that you'll develop. And we also have a thesis to write, so a piece of research. So a lot of people who go into industry, you know, and have forged really strong careers, the skills they learn, not just in their practice or their art, but also in their thesis, help them kind of grow their career and take some kind of like senior roles in studios and productions. So as I mentioned previously, these are roughly the same guidelines as you would have for the existing animation program. And in doing that, we want to just reassure you that it's about you and your skills and your ability to observe, because observation feeds into the work in all aspects. Drawing can be digital as well as kind of, let's say, on paper. Digital work, if you have any, but again, it's not fundamental. Illustration and personal work. So, you know, what interests you and who are you and what kind of what are you interested in? What is your, like, be it art styles, be it kind of animation styles, be it illustration, be it art in general. If you have any animation or films that you've made, of course, include them. And then really a lot of the value in portfolios is in notebooks. So it's your observations, it's your sketches, it's your ideas, and how they develop and grow in your work is really important. And again, the last line I put in there is kind of key. It's introduce yourself through your work. Again, you'll find more specific guidelines in terms of portfolio on the website, and also even on the IEDT website, there's general advice in terms of how to present your work and upload it as well for the March deadline. So again, just, Ivor talked about his experience. There's animation studios. We all know a lot of what's going on in Ireland in terms of, 2D, 3D, and kind of hybrid studios. The growth of visual effects for feature films and TV is huge and growing in Ireland. Kind of, there's some really large companies in Ireland, but also the skills will be applicable to games and design studios, and also other areas. VR and kind of immersive technologies are really kind of growing. So again, you will have an opportunity to kind of forge a path into areas that are interesting to you. I'll come to the questions in a second, and then excuse me, you'll learn more again on the website. So, the 3D animation page or the faculty page itself has portfolio guidelines and other information. So I think what I'll do is I'll stop sharing for now, and then we'll kind of open up to questions and any comments you might have. I'll just open up the chat. Okay, I see that some people are having problems. So again, we are recording tonight's session. So Catherine, you're asking about the number of students. So we're going, just to give you a little bit of background, because animation in IEDT it's the longest running animation program in the country. And for a long amount of time, we've been talking about launching a new BA in 3D. I'm involved, I'm program chair in a master's that we've run for a number of years in 3D with Sheridan College in Toronto. So the decision was made by faculty to start with a slightly smaller number in terms of getting the program up and running. And also there's a new building. If anybody drives by the campus in the last couple of weeks, there's some major building work going on in terms of a new digital media building. And this program will move over there in 2 years' time in terms of the new facilities. So for year one, it'll be 20 students, approximately, growing to 30 in year two. So how are the portfolio marks awarded? What's the breakdown? So they're broken down into 4 categories of 150 points. The portfolio is 600 points in total. And as you know, the Leaving Cert is 600 in total. I haven't got the breakdown in front of me, but I'm going to say that one is, I don't have the breakdown, so I'm not going to try and remember. It's 4 categories around skills. I know it's personal work. I think it's use of media is another one, but again, I can't remember the 4th one. So I'm losing the questions here because they're coming in so fast.
There's one there,
Damien, I'm going to be using the little thumbs up emoji for any of the ones that we've managed to answer. So any that don't have that, feel free to go ahead and answer.
Mm-hmm. There's one there. Would it be possible to transfer over into 2D animation in year 2?
Well, I think so. We have lots of opportunities about kind of internal moving between programs. I think the reality is sometimes it can be quite hard. So going from 3D to 2D would be actually easier than if you're coming from the existing program over to the 3D program. But again, there's no, that can come down to if there's places available, so it's not always guaranteed that swap will be able to happen, because it depends on the student enrollment in the existing program.
Mm-hmm.
Will the new building bring about more places in animation? So with the launch of this new program, we're obviously offering more places across the institute. I'm not sure whether with the new building it's going to increase above 30 places in each program, because there will be other programs moving into that building as well. No matter how much I'd love a building just for animation, there'll be different courses going in there. But the new building is for, I think, 900 students. It fits. There'll be labs, digital spaces. There'll be research facilities. So I think, again, I think that that we're looking at approximately 60 students per year studying animation in IADT in 2 years' time, where you've got the two programs side by side.
Another question there is, what's the difference between the 3D animation program and the animation program? So I suppose like the current animation program is general, although there's probably amongst the students a bit of a preference towards 2D. I think there is a lot to unpack in 3D. So given a dedicated course to be able to go into modeling, rigging, and all the different aspects of it is great, just because I think in the general course at the moment there can be a little bit of you're almost fighting for time between the 2D and the 3D. So yeah, that would kind of be the main difference in terms of the course structure, is just that it's dedicated towards it, but they will still share a lot of the like design, visual language, when it comes to directing and writing for animation. I think I'd probably be right in saying that they'd be shared between the two courses, Damien.
Yeah, again, this is purely focused. So you've got 4 years focused on one area, whereas you do different techniques and different skills on the existing program. I think it's important to say that, if you guys are like unsure, maybe the existing program is the right choice to think about. But what I'd also recommend is then put down your second choice for the 3D program. We don't know yet where the points are going to go in terms of this, as it's a new program. But what I think is really important is to encourage you all to apply firstly. Secondly is to use your choices in terms of, first preference, second preference, and so forth. And also get your portfolio in, because you don't know where it is. It's going to fall in terms of the points and the awarding of places, but also you'll get feedback. And on the existing program, one thing is that because so many people want to join that program, people often go and do a PLC course or work on their portfolio themselves for a period of time. And we've had students who've spent a year or two and then they got their place. So I always say in these situations that if animation is what you really want to do, and it's what I've really wanted to do for over 35 years of my life, you'll stick with it and you'll kind of stay with it, because it's a career. It can be hard in terms of the existing program is competitive, but if you want it, you'll find a way of getting it, is what I always encourage people to remember. So I'm just going back here. Oh, Yvonne was answered by, it was answered.
Sorry, no, Yvonne's wasn't answered, as I think another guest might have done the thumbs up for that one.
Okay. Okay, so to make access more about the portfolio and points, QQI students have no Leaving Cert, a chance of getting into IADT, for example. So I think that would probably be our colleague Mary. Mary, would you like to join in there?
Yeah, perfect. I may or may not have, I believe, had a very similar question maybe from Yvonne already. I'm not sure, but yes, it is for certain courses that receive a lot of applications through what's called Round Zero is for QQI students. It can be quite competitive, but we have what we do is say put it in, because if you have a level 5, level 6, we don't know how many people are applying for the course. We can't tell that until you know, after the 1st of February. So the main thing is if you don't have your application in, it's not the first 3 preference. If you don't have your portfolio in before the 20th of March, then we wouldn't be able to assess it, and we're not able to see if you're eligible for the programme. So the thing is with CAO, they try and do it as fair as possible. And at the moment, we have, you know, in total across animation at the moment for first year admissions, it is 50 places. So that is a substantial number, I believe. And with the 20 spaces as well, we're not, you know, if there's a student who, for example, may not be in a position to take up the course, or who has done a second preference, it will go to the next student as well. So we don't, it's really hard. And the thing is I wouldn't get too hung up, because if you don't, it's genuine preference of order, because you never know how many people are ahead of you, or you could be the top person, and it's so hard to predict. So that's why you always hear people saying genuine preference of order, just put it down. It's so hard to predict at this point with CAO. The course is new, it's generating interest. We've got a lot of inquiries about it. Obviously it is created because of the industry demand and the space and the requirement for it in the workforce. But my only advice would be for the student to put it down, put it as their first preference if they're genuinely interested in it. Do their best. If they have their FETEC scores already, great. If they're currently doing it, to just, you know, put in the portfolio, do their best in portfolio, then focus on their exams, and then they'll have their portfolio score and everything by early April, so they'll be able to make a decision then. But it is unfortunately that is the case of CAO, but that's, you know, hopefully in years to come, when we get to the new building, we can have more spaces. But that would be my genuine kind of no, and I'm not too sure of the queer of the background, but also there is a mature student. So for example, when someone is as 23 as of the 1st of January from the year of admission, so if anyone's over the age of 23 now, they can click mature student. And we also reserve 10% of spaces if we get 10% eligible students. So for that, we aim to fill it as well. So we are inclusive. We are ensuring that we give all different types of no background to students a chance for admissions onto the programme. But obviously with the mature student, you do a cover letter, a personal note. So if you're a mature student and you've done a QQI, you can apply for both rounds as well, and it gives you another option too. So that's what we'd encourage as well if you are over the age of 23 too. You just include it, but you would also, for all access routes as well, you also are required to pass your portfolio over 240 points. So the main thing is put it as a high preference, pop your portfolio in before the 20th of March and see how you get on. That's the main thing, I suppose. But it is, and that's the nature of CAO, it is supply and demand. So we just say do your best and pop it in, and we'll provide all the feedback and support throughout the process as well.
Mary, while you're there, there's a question, which is it possible to apply for 3D animation through Back to Education scheme?
For mature students, so there is, if you go onto our website, there is a mature students for Back to Education scheme. It is, see, when this is, so that's a social welfare query, and it would be dependent on your situation as well. So I'd always say there is students in IEDT on full-time education, which this course is full-time. It is over 17 hours. 17 hours or over would qualify for full-time undergraduate between the hours of 8 to 6. If they're scheduled on Monday to Friday, if they're scheduled that, they'd be eligible for Back to Education allowance. My recommendation is to always check with your Intrio advisor, your case officer. But there is a number of students on that scheme in IEDT currently, and it is a course that is full-time, so qualifies for the scheme, correct. But also for mature students as well, if you go to the mature students page, there is also a scholarship available for students, so definitely worth having a look at that as well.
And I think just following on from what Mary said, again, there's so much information in terms of the IEDT website, be it very specific admissions information. There's also help on portfolios and how to upload and so forth. And again, you'll find contact information on those pages. If there's anything specific, feel free to reach out to any of us or our colleagues who will be able to help with those queries. I'm going to go back to a couple of these other questions. Do you happen to learn any digital effects like CG? So there will be a little bit of visual effects, but this isn't a VFX course. So again, you'll learn a little bit of particle simulations and things like that. But again, it's not, it will open opportunities in terms of VFX, but will not, it's not a standalone VFX course. But again, that's up to you. On the existing program, we have a couple of students who are interested in VFX and are actually working in a studio for their graduate project. They're doing actual real studio work in VFX. So again, we're open to it, but it's not a specific module. Max asked, are there any well-known films that graduates have worked on? I always love this question because nobody will know the answer to this, but the most successful Irish director directed a film that took in $650 million in the box office. And it's a CG film, and nobody knows about him. And it's a guy called Fergus Riley, who's a graduate from IEDT way, way back. But he was the co-director of Angry Birds, the movie. So, you know, he was a 2D animator, started off in CG very early on, and went on to direct Angry Birds. But you also have people directing in Brown Bag. We've got lots of people who, on the existing program, Louise Bagnall is a graduate who was Oscar nominated 5 years ago. She works in the Cartoon Saloon, and she's directing a feature film for them at the moment. There are graduates all over the world doing incredible work, not just in Ireland. 2 years ago, a graduate from IDT created a piece of VR that won in the Venice Film Festival, the best VR project. And it's an amazing piece of work. Barry Murphy is his name, you know, so there's lots and lots of amazing graduates, not just in animation. You even have Enda Lockman, who graduated from animation, but now is a live action director making feature films and stuff like this. So there's lots of really interesting work out there. And then I think I answered your question, Max, didn't I, about the portfolio breakdown? So it's 4 categories. I cannot remember. I don't have to hand the categorizations, but if I go back to my slide, what we really value is core drawing skills, observation, and then you and your personality. We really want to know you through your work. And, you know, as myself, Ross, and other colleagues would assess portfolios every year, the ones that stand out are the ones that really have a personal stamp on them, in terms of the be it design, be it drawing, be it the interest of the individual. So I think that's really important to remember. We will always be looking for like really good drawing skills and so forth, life drawing, observational drawing, but personality as well. Have we any other questions? I think don't think I've missed any. So just to recap a little bit, because you know, it's a new program. So again, there's no guidance on where the points will be. So again, as Mary said earlier, you know, apply. If you're interested, apply, put in your portfolio. You know, there was an old TV ad, if you're not in, you can't win. And also, if the existing program is your preference, you know, if 2D, maybe put it down as your second choice as well. Again, the places, the CAO process is very, you know, we don't know until August or even the first week of September who the students will be, because it goes into that process. We do have another open day in March. Now, unfortunately for this program, that's after the portfolio date. But again, we'll be around to answer any questions. So, you know, the change of mind process, you may change your mind and move away from a portfolio course, but you can't change your mind towards a portfolio course, because the assessment of the portfolio happens in March and April. So there isn't that ability in the summertime to change your mind in terms of the portfolio requirement. And there is in terms of other programs within the faculty and the institute, but just not with this one and others. And again, my email is on the website. If anyone has any follow-up questions, feel free to drop me an email, and I will we'll get back to you. And also, as I said, the portfolio and then also admissions pages on the IADT website will gladly answer any specific questions you might have in the run up to what's it 10 days away, I suppose, is the first
Wednesday week. Wednesday week. Yeah.
Wednesday week. Yeah, wow, that happened quickly. So make sure you put some thought into how you use your CAO and get your, you know what I mean, use your preferences and things like that as well. So the question around okay, so that's a good question, and a few people have asked about the subject to validation. So that's an actual process when you create a new program. We create a big document. It's 200 pages plus of the rationale and the educational kind of theory behind the program and so forth. That goes to an external panel who check it, make sure it's appropriate for the degree, and that actually happens this Friday as part of the process. So, you know, we're confident that'll go very well and so forth. So that's what that on the website means. We are in the CAO. We will be delivering this program in September, and that's just kind of the process of ratifying the new program. So that's what that little phrase on the website means. Any final questions? Okay, well, look, thanks everybody for your time. And again, don't forget, you know, we're here to help in any way we can. So please reach out, and hopefully I'll be seeing some of you in September in terms of the first intake of students. And if not, I know somebody said that their transition year, but if you're still in school, or even if you're going to take, if you're not sure, come out to open days, come meet us, get some help. You know, we're happy to help and look at portfolios during the year as well. Obviously, we're in the kind of run up to the portfolio submission now, but don't be a stranger, and hopefully we'll see some of you in September. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.